Hello and welcome to Grumpy Gamers. You're here this week with Ben, and alongside me I have Eddie.
Hello. You sighed the entry, so I'm just like that.
You kind of did.
I didn't sigh.
You did.
You did. You went like you actually started with a big exhale. You went, "Welcome to Grumpy Gamers." As in, fuck's sake, not another week.
When I look at my lines on Audacity here, they're right up to the top. I put in.
Listen, Ben, Discord
effort.
doesn't bring in the small sounds, and it must have been a fucking big sigh because it came through. Okay.
Well, we are sighing a little bit because Pete's not here, and that's unfortunate because he literally was here before recording, but technological issues mean that he can't be too much static on his line. He's run out of internet, so
yeah, our listeners should know that it was barely crackable. But Ben, you high demand you want our listeners to experience the best form of listening entertainment.
I do, and there was a slight crackle there, so you cut.
The smallest crackle, Pete, you got.
15 minutes of editing is the maximum you can have. And
exactly, the editing is fixed.
Time for him.
The editing is fixed at 15 minutes. I'm not going through his line of audio and editing out shit. Not doing it.
I've noticed Kurt doesn't even edit the trains out anymore. I've noticed that. No. He used to, but then I had to wait too long for his audio. And
actually, no, that's bullshit. You said don't worry about it, just send it over. It doesn't matter. It's part of the charm now.
Yeah, exactly, because I didn't want to have to wait till the next day to get your audio file, because you're anyway.
And I didn't want to fucking do it, mate,
So we all win. We all win. Anyway, the three of us are here. The three of us are here without Pete, so let's get on with it. Well, before we get on with it, actually, we got our first win on Ranked Warzone last night, didn't we?
You two did.
Well, yeah. Kirk, you were there. I
listened. No, I listened. Yes, I joined the Discord.
Yeah, you joined just after, didn't you? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, you joined during our win, so that must have felt good to be on the line with winners.
I felt like I was there.
Yeah.
What, you heard the pure panic in all our voices?
No, it was when I was actually trying to talk to you all, and none of you were responding to me, and I was not on mute. But I understand now.
It was our first. We were in a good position. Everything.
Ranked Warzone is another beast compared to normal Warzone. So that's what we're telling ourselves.
Yeah, that's our first one out of probably like 30 games. So
yeah, exactly, which is crazy.
Yeah, because we before would be a win every 3 days, I should say.
Yeah, we won fairly often, but Ranked, it's a beast. It's a beast. Yeah. But anyway, so that was our big announcement. We're going to do the news, the new releases, what we've been playing. There's some older games in the mix this week. Kirk, you've got Horizon, haven't you?
Yeah, Zero Dawn.
Horizon. And we're going to hear Eddie's take on Death Stranding.
This should be good. This should be. When I was listening last week. It was Eddie was saying how he was listening to the week prior that he was off, and how excited he was to play it.
I cannot wait, Kirk. I cannot wait to hear.
Donnie, maybe just switch off that bit.
No, Eddie, come on.
All right, okay.
Save it, but I only want to hear good stuff. Anyway, and then our feature this week, unfortunately, Pete's not here, but we're going to be discussing min-maxing in gaming and how we kind of feel about it, and what games we kind of do it on, and whether it's a good thing or not. Yeah. So we'll be chatting that one through. But let's get on to the quick news. The court case with Microsoft and the FTC has continued, obviously. I wanted to really keep this out of the main news.
Fair.
Because
there's a verdict. We're doing it? Is that right?
Yeah, and I tell you what, these fucking news sites, they split like a day's event into about 5 different fucking stories. Yeah. So it's so hard to collate everything and stuff. So we just wanted to keep it out of all the news, really. But there's a verdict coming. Both sides have done a good job, blah, blah, blah. They've done the closing arguments. The outcome this week will probably result in either Microsoft completing the deal and then making concessions afterwards, or walking away.
They're not walking away.
I think if there's an injunction, they'll walk away. I think that's the consensus, that they'll just call it a day.
Well, let's not forget South Africa have signed off on this now as well. So
there we go. That's hot off the press.
It is. Announced today. So, I mean,
I think that was the news everyone was waiting for.
It was.
Yes, it was, yeah.
And we've got it.
They'd be stupid.
But there was a couple of interesting things from the trial. Sony can't redact documents properly. They just used a black marker to kind of write things out, and then people obviously then change the contrast or the whatever on it so they can then see what was written behind it.
That fucking intern, man, can't do his job properly.
gets fucking everywhere. They're from the things that I saw. Last of Us 2 cost $220 million to make, and Forbidden West was $210 million, and that's all before marketing costs. So I think it wasn't long ago that we were talking about quotes from people saying games were going to cost well over $100 million to make and stuff like that.
Try double that, buddy.
I mean, they're $200 million. That's before marketing, so we're probably looking at $400 million with marketing, because marketing can be as much as the development of the game. Mm-hmm. So yeah, absolutely monstrous. There were also internal emails with Microsoft talking amongst themselves, saying talking about spending Sony out of business. And then there was internal emails with Sony saying that they didn't think the deal from Microsoft was actually a COD, a Call of Duty play. They thought it wasn't that, because they could have just paid about $5 billion for exclusivity for the next couple of titles or something like that. So, and people were like up in arms, like, oh, they don't really think what they've been saying. The biggest shock here is that people actually think that what companies say in public is what they think in private.
Yeah.
So
it's our common theme of this show, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just everyone's just saying what they're meant to say. So there we go.
Mando's
yeah, and Elder Scrolls 6. We mentioned last week that during this trial, it said that it was years away. Well, it was mentioned again, and it said that the anticipated release date would be 2026. And that was Microsoft's lawyer saying that. He actually referred to it as Elder Scrolls 16.
Ah, brilliant.
Oh, sweet!
Assuming,
we're going to get loads in the next.
I'm assuming that he got mixed up with Final Fantasy, and we're not getting another 10 titles in between.
Well, hang on, if the lawyer says it.
Right,
they don't miss. They don't miss.
Yeah,
what?
Lawyers don't miss.
Don't miss. Is that
They don't miss, Eddie. I've heard it.
I mean, one side misses every time, but you know.
That is a good point.
Yeah. Okay.
Lawyers only miss 50% of the time. So there we go. In other news, Ubisoft are supposedly making Assassin's Creed Black Flag, remaking it.
Yep.
Yep. Stray, Eddie, this is for you. Stray is coming to Xbox 10th of August. For those that don't remember, and it was on PlayStation. It was on PlayStation Plus actually on day one. Excellent little game where you play as a cat. Fun. Thought-provoking. That's what I've written here. It's not coming to Game Pass though.
Oh,
yeah, not surprising.
So
but
going to have to pay for it.
It might be one of those it'll come later sort of things. But I think because of the success that it had on PlayStation,
that's exactly what I thought, Kurt.
Yeah,
it had tremendous success, so it wants to get some sales in, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, but there we go. Football Manager 2023, the one that came out last year, it's been discussed by the devs this week, and they said that it was a personal disappointment. I think we said on this podcast that it's really similar to the previous game, and I know Eddie used to, especially 2022, used to play it every single day.
Yeah.
And you don't play it now, do you?
It's quite interesting. I've never seen the game as bad. But I've played every Football Manager probably, 1,000 hours each, and this one I've played only a couple hundred hours, and I don't play it. So maybe they're onto something there. Maybe subconsciously I do think it's a worse game.
I'm glad that they say this, because I buy every iteration. Some of them I play for the 1,000 hours. Some of them I just don't. This one I haven't, and I do actually own this, despite it being on Game Pass. I did actually pay for it. But for me, they're just the latest iteration. Now, they said that the new one that's coming out, 2024, is going to be an iteration. It's going to be a true sequel. It's just going to be the same game. But they talked up and they bigged up Football Manager 2025. So that's the one coming out next November time. They said it's going to include women's football, and it's going to be totally revamped. I thought this was a bit of a weird way of downplaying the game that is just about to come out.
Yeah,
but
that is a bit. It's almost like them saying, "Don't get it."
Yeah, it's almost like releasing one of those FIFA games where they just update the players like they do on the Switch version.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't sound too good for Football Manager. Weird interview, but never mind. And lastly, Baldur's Gate is now releasing on the 3rd of August on PC and the 6th of August on PlayStation. So previously, it was all being released on the 6th of September. Sorry.
Yes.
Did I say August again?
Yeah, you said August.
So, to clear that up, 3rd of August on PC, 6th of September on PlayStation. It was all going to be released in September, but I think this was to move out the way of Starfield.
Yeah, I think so.
So they've moved Baldur's Gate on PC to the 3rd of August. Console staying the same, and also tagged on this, there is no Xbox version at time of release at this point. And that has something to do with the Series S, it would appear. They can't get split screen to work on the Series S console, so therefore it's just not coming out on Xbox at this time.
That's such a thing, isn't it? Like, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, we need more time with it. Brilliant, right? So we're just not going to release it. We'll release it on the other console, though.
It is an odd one, because Xbox probably have a thing with all developers or whatever that says you have to release the Series S and the Series X version at the same time, because they never want the S to be felt by consumers as inferior.
Inferior, yeah.
And equally, they don't want an inferior version of the game coming out, so to delete the feature, let's say. And even if they did, even if that was a possibility, you're then asking the developers to literally take that whole feature from the game on the Xbox version, which that might not be possible either. So it's just a lot of misfortune here, I think, especially for a game that has been in early access for so fucking long.
Yeah. So it's Microsoft's policy apparently to have feature parity across the X and S consoles. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That does make sense. I never think the X version should have it and the S version not have it. I think that then really does create a problem with their marketing.
Yeah. Do you think? Here's a question for you. Do you think in future they're going to do this again? The whole S and X. It seems like there's always a bloody problem, isn't there?
No, they won't. They will learn from this and just cause more headaches. They needed a cheaper console this time round to undercut Sony, basically, which is what they did. They wanted a Game Pass machine, didn't they? That's what the whole point of it was. Yeah. And then the power hungry people got the X, but yeah, I don't think they'd do this again. They'd probably do the same as what Sony have done with a discless and a disc version.
Yeah, I agree totally with Kirk, because they needed to do something this generation to set themselves apart.
Yeah.
Obviously, they lost last generation 2-1 in terms of hardware sales, so, or maybe even more than that. They needed something. The S has been a fantastic entry point for this generation, hasn't it? And even stats that came out this week said that 48% of players on the Series S console are new to the Xbox ecosystem, I think.
Yeah, I saw that.
So they have new accounts. And that would make sense, I think, because I think you're going to get a lot of kids getting Xboxes as their first main console.
Yeah.
Because it's a great entry point to new gaming. I mean, I bought one for my nephew. So
did you I think it was last year, actually. Do you remember, you mentioned about obviously kids getting them. There was a Series S bundle with like 2 or 3 Epic games, which were Rocket League and Fortnite and what's the other one?
All the free games.
Yeah, all the free games. But they're making a push for it because it's one of those, Fortnite especially is aimed at the younger generation, isn't it? So
100%, yeah.
250 quid for a console plus you get free games. I mean, parents aren't going to know any fucking different.
Yeah, I know. The Fortnite thing, I mean, they'll probably get V-Bucks or something with it, but you're right, like, parents aren't going to know any different, and Fortnite is free regardless. It does irk me a little bit if I go round to their house and he's playing Fortnite and he's playing it on the Switch. I literally saw him play it on the Switch. He was playing it on his Switch the other day, and I was like,
but surely,
bought you an Xbox.
Surely that is right up your street, because you've openly said, I will, at any chance that I get, play on my Switch. He's just
not fucking shooters, man. Not shooters on those sticks. The fucking shit Joy-Con. Yeah, you can't play competitive shooter on those on the Joy-Con. The stick travel is wank.
Fair enough.
He won a game as well.
Won a game. He's obviously doing something that you're doing wrong.
Absolutely.
Need to play it on Switch. Is
Kids got
Warzone on
skills.
Switch? Is that a
There you
possibility?
go. Gaming skills runs in the genes, baby. Right.
Wow.
Let's move on to the
We're gonna
main
move
news.
on to that, are we? We're really going to
Main
move on.
news.
We're just going to allow a comment like that to just come spitting out.
Take us forward, Eddie. First main news
To
story.
put in perspective, in that the last kill that we had, we were against one person against three of us. Ben downed him and then ran back into the house. So I had to run outside and finish him off. And Ben, why did you do that? I haven't asked you that. Why did you run back into the house?
I like to let you finish men off.
There's no need for that.
We've got a low bar this week, haven't we?
Yeah.
Pete's not
is
here.
this
Pete's
what
not
we
here,
fall
you've
to
ruined
without
it.
Pete?
Pete's not here. So.
All right. Well,
There
my
you go.
news story is kind of about the Microsoft kind of court case acquisition.
excellent.
So
Excellent.
fuck you. I got a story in there somehow. It's about Microsoft being interested in Sega. So, as part of the FTC versus Microsoft court case, internal documents were released suggesting Microsoft had at one point considered buying Sega.
Very good.
Sushi Utsumi, Sega's co-chief operating officer, has now dismissed speculation that the company is still open to acquisitions and declined to confirm whether an offer was made. Shane would have liked that. Utsumi did stress that Sega has a strong relationship with Microsoft. He said, "We are very close with Microsoft and have a great relationship with its management team. Microsoft particularly has a high regard for us. Xbox's Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond are really serious about values that video game fans emphasize." Yeah, indeed, Kirk. Indeed.
Yeah, well, there was a big that document. You must have seen it, Kirk. The document which showed loads of companies which were like theoretical companies that they could purchase.
Correct.
So they had a big old list of these, including like and why they were good. Maybe they were active in the mobile market or big in the West or something like that. They had like the developers of Hades, Supermassive, is that?
Supergiant games. That one.
Supergiant, yeah, there we go. Always get this mixed up. They just had an assortment of these, and people got awful excited about this. Oh wow, Microsoft could do X, Y, Z. This the list was like from 2020 or something.
Yeah.
So it's not a new list, but it does. I mean, this does poses the question in my mind that if the injunction is held, it's put in, and Microsoft say, okay, sorry, Activision, it ain't happening. They don't want to be tied up in litigation for 2-3 years or something. Microsoft could go out there and
just gobble somebody
their hand
else
has been
up.
shown.
Yeah,
their hand has been shown. And if I were Microsoft, and I'd be very annoyed about this whole situation, I would go to Activision and say, okay, it wasn't a Call of Duty play, but now it is. We're going to have Call of Duty for the next
We'll give you 10 billion.
3 iterations. Yeah, we'll give you the 5 billion or whatever the cost is, and we'll have Call of Duty. And PlayStation, you get absolutely nothing. Because they can do that.
They can do that. They'd have to try and save face somewhere, wouldn't they, as well?
I mean, I was on the Donny's podcast the other day, and we were talking, and Craig made a great point and just said, like, is it worse for PlayStation if Microsoft don't get this deal?
Could be, actually.
Because Call of Duty earns them free money, earns PlayStation so much money in terms of their cuts from the microtransactions and all that kind of stuff. Earns them so much money. Yes, PlayStation do not want to lose that £1 billion a year or whatever that they get from that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if Microsoft just cover what Call of Duty would have earned by having it on PlayStation and all this kind of stuff, then that's killer.
It's a massive middle finger, isn't it, to them?
Yeah, it's huge, and it's the way around. But it doesn't appear that this was the play. The Call of Duty was part of the play, but not the play. Mm-hmm. They wanted the mobile stuff, didn't they? So there's a load of opportunities.
Not past tense. Yeah, they want.
They want.
Good point.
Yes.
Good point.
It's not over yet.
Yes, they want.
Yeah. Okay.
Am I next or are you? We've both.
I don't know.
We've both labelled
We've
this
both got
number 3.
Floundering.
We pause then because we order who goes.
I'll go next.
You go.
Yeah,
you go.
I'll go. So
We need Pete. This is what happens without P. We don't have structure.
Help us. So CD Projekt have had a weird take on Cyberpunk's launch. That is Ben's headline, by the way. That was not from Eurogamer. Eurogamer actually just quoted the person I'm about to explain about. So,
I apologise for having an opinion.
You're welcome. That's fine. So this is from Eurogamer. According to CD Projekt executive, Cyberpunk's launch was way better than it was received, but it became a cool thing not to like it. So this comes courtesy of VP of PR and Communication, Michael Platkow-Jelaski. Yeah, go with that. Speaking to GamesIndustry.biz. So he made further comments, which were, we went from hero to zero really fast. That was a tough moment. And yes, we can improve it. Yes, we need to take time to do it. So we all know the story about Cyberpunk, which launched in a very less than half-baked state. Lots of bugs. Many people couldn't even play it. Eddy, you had to return it. PlayStation Store took it down. We all know that kind of jazz. But obviously, the game's running great now, and they've got the expansion Phantom Liberty coming out on September 26th. Plug for them. I don't know why I'm doing that.
Why are you plugging?
Yeah, I don't really know. Just showing where it's come from. It's come from zero to hero. You know, just a little play
Fine.
on
whatever, Kirk.
Yeah,
whatever, buddy. You keep going, son.
So the exec he also mentioned that they've basically got a bunch of other projects in the pipeline, but they're all at different stages, and because they've learned from their mistakes, they are discussing what is important right now and where they want to go with it all. Which is a little bit interesting, because you kind of think that that's the kind of thing that they would have maybe planned out originally when they were doing Cyberpunk, but it was a bit of a shit show, as I said, we all know. Just a bit of a strange comment. Strange comments from him, really. Just kind of like, I know he's being honest about what the situation was, but I think the main thing that has been taken from this, and I've seen a lot of buzz online, was it became a cool thing not to like it. Which, I don't know about you two. I don't think that was the case. I think people didn't like it because it was shit.
Kirk, I completely agree. In fact, I'm going to go as far to say he's obviously doing it just to die down how much of a fuck up it was. And it really pisses me off because, complete opposite, there is no game on this planet that everyone wanted to be such a huge success. I've never seen a game that has had so much hype around it than Cyberpunk.
Correct.
All I wanted was this game to be playable so that I could force myself to tell myself that I enjoy it. I even spent 50 quid. Now, when I spend 50 quid, I convince myself. You asked me what Battlefield is like, the latest one. Brilliant. What a brilliant game. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Like?
It's excellent, Ben. It's a really good. It's probably the best first-person shooter I've ever played. Right?
Oh, fantastic! Do you recommend that? I mean, I already own it, but do you recommend it?
Absolutely, buy it for full price, 70 quid. Love it, absolutely brilliant. But that's what I'm saying is, like, I really wanted to like it. I think a load of people really wanted to like it. I think it's absolute bullshit that it became cool to not like it. The reason why people didn't want to like it is because it was unplayable. I'm not saying I didn't like the story or the characters. I fucking love the story, love the characters. But it's just unplayable. It was very difficult to look at while playing a game. And normally, I mean, I play fucking RimWorld day in, day out, so I'm normally used to shit graphics, but this was just uncharacteristically bad. There was obviously something horrendously wrong, and that's why I didn't like it. Not because it was cool or anything like that. In fact, if anything, it was the opposite, because you guys loved it when you played it on your good consoles and PCs. But
I think there's a lot of mixed stuff here. I think, Eddie, you're exactly right, and I think this guy it's wrong. It's like they've forgotten that it got released on the PS4 and the Xbox One. Like it was a tragedy. It was an absolute tragedy. But I don't like the fact that it's cool to hate it now. Like, I listen to another podcast, which they're great. They're very knowledgeable. Blah blah blah. They talk about Cyberpunk. One of them's like, "Oh yeah, I loved it at launch," and the rest are like, somebody says, "Oh, I might go back and play it," and they say, "Oh no, it's still broken and it's still trash." It's like, what are you fucking talking about, man? Because on the next gen consoles, like, yes, it crashed a bit, and they sorted that after a week or so, and they put a day one patch in, or day two patch where it looked a lot better or whatever. But the game is not trash. the game is fucking
It's a very
great.
good
It runs
game.
brilliantly.
Yeah.
It's on PS5 and Xbox Series X. It works well. It worked well at the time. Like, it's games have bugs in. Just this is like any other game now. Like, yes, you might find a bug here and there, but that's what you find with every fucking game. But at the time, like that PS4 and Xbox One release,
Dog shit.
as I said, it was a tragedy. So, it wasn't, and it did become cool not to like it, I think, but from a solid source. Like, there was a reason for that, and then I do think it became something after that fact. Like, if this opinion was related to like now or maybe a few months after launch, that type of thing, then yes, but it should never have come on the old consoles, and this just seems like selective memory.
I'm not even really sure why this needed to be said though. At this point, like Cyberpunk, they've done what they needed to do. They've done the damage control. It's now fine. Like people are. Go on. What?
This is probably just a sentence that he said in an interview, and I know we're talking about it and making a big deal of it. It was probably just a throwaway line, but now people like us have latched on it.
Hey, I'm latching onto what Eurogamer latched onto, mate. Okay, so
yeah,
you know.
I know, and yeah, but we got to talk about something.
I like the humility of the hero to zero real fast. That was, it's. They put their hands up. They're saying, we did wrong. We know you did wrong, though. You told us a year and a half, 2 years ago, and you have said so. You've corrected it. You've course corrected. It's all good. Let's move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
and
you make it sound like they didn't put their hands up. I mean, like, they had to say something because PlayStation literally took it off their fucking service.
Oh, no. I mean, they don't have to keep saying stuff now. Like
they're not. He's saying that it's cool to... It was cool. If anything, they're trying to, like soften the blow by saying it was cool not to like it. If anything, that's not taking accountability at all.
Let me ask a question to you. If you were CD Projekt, would you... The internal emails going on there, obviously not said in public, but the internal emails going on there are surely like, Sony, PlayStation, fuck them. Just fuck them. We're not going to give anything. We're not going to give them anything anymore. Like, because they took the whole thing off their store, right? They didn't take the PS4 version off. They took it all off.
Yeah.
That is just, what the fuck?
We're going Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
Are you fucking joking? Why are you taking that perfectly good PS5 game off the system? It's like they jumped on that bandwagon. If you were CD Projekt, you'd be fucking livid.
Would you be livid by any chance then?
I'd be like, PlayStation, yeah.
Maybe go
you'd
to
make an enemy out of CD
Xbox.
Projekt.
Right, guys, buy us for a discount. We just want to fuck PlayStation over now. So.
Well, Microsoft didn't do that, did they? They didn't take it off their store, did they?
No, if I remember correctly, didn't it come with a warning or something? Didn't it come with?
It might have. It might have.
Yeah, I think you might be right there.
But I got it hard copy for the first time in ages, and I regret that, obviously.
I mean,
if Microsoft had done it, I would have just then gone, right, okay, consoles, fuck you, we're going to Steam. We're only doing Steam now.
I mean, ultimately, it was a troubled studio at a troubled time, but they're not in trouble anymore. Unlike...
What do you mean a troubled studio? No, right, I'm having to stop your bullshit. Troubled studio? They just released fucking Witcher 3 and now they're releasing this. How were they troubled?
I mean,
not in any way.
I mean, at the time of Cyberpunk launching, with the damage to their reputation, but
yeah, after it was released, yeah,
that's what
because they fucked up.
Yeah, but the anime came out and pumped it all back up.
Talking of which, have you watched the latest Witcher series?
I have, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I was quite disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the other Witcher series. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Fine.
So that's our review of the first 5 episodes of The Witcher series 3. Let's move on to the next news story. So the developers of Lord of the Rings Gollum, Daedalic Entertainment, they have reportedly laid off 25 employees and are exiting game development. That's a harsh paper round, isn't it? There was a second game that they were making for Lord of the Rings as well. I think that started mid last year. That's supposedly been canned. So This is all after they released Gollum last month, and it didn't go well. Bad reviews everywhere. The reviews did say that it had good in it, and it wasn't through lack of trying. It just wasn't a good game. They've moved into solely publishing now, but it just really goes to show that in this day and age, when so much money gets pumped into these games, we just saw The Last of Us 2 costing $220 million or something. Even smaller games or games like this are going to cost a fortune. And now with the power of the internet, with game reviews and word of mouth, Metacritic and all this kind of stuff, people just, if they don't buy your game, fuck, you're not getting a lot back, are you? You are not breaking even. You're losing hard. And back in the day, there would have been a chance for people still to buy this just on the IP. But nowadays, what do you guys think about the Lord of the Rings IP?
Couldn't care less.
As valuable?
Couldn't care less about it. I mean, I'm not a fan of Lord of the Rings anyway. It's not.
What?
We're allowed to have taste. You don't like.
Fucking hell, Kurt! You're really pissing me off this week.
Okay. So no, I'm not a fan. So it doesn't that doesn't interest me. But I think the thing with this game is it was just a very bad game. Like, there was not a lot going for it, and if I remember correctly, it's like a game that should have been released like 10 years ago. Like, how it looks and how it plays.
Oh my god, yes. Holy
shit. It does. Yeah, it doesn't look
horrendous.
You think with the level of like polish that a lot of games get these days, it's generally expected that there is going to be a good amount of effort put into it. And with a huge IP like Lord of the Rings, and it is still huge, there are still a lot of people that love it, but this is essentially damaging to it. So
it is a huge IP. You are right. People do love Lord of the Rings, and I liked the 3 films. I mean, I couldn't make it through the first book, so I'm not a reader. No one's ever accused me of being a reader.
You've said every podcast in the recent weeks.
Exactly. So people know I don't read. But I did enjoy the films. I'm with you though, Kurt. I don't care about the Lord of the Rings IP, and I'm not sure whether that's. I mean, how's that Amazon series done? Like, I heard that didn't do particularly well.
No,
I watched half of it and gave up, but I am going to give it another try. Yeah, I thought that was pretty terrible. Yeah, so far. But I am going to give it another try.
So we've panned the Lord of the Rings, Amazon, and The Witcher.
Also, I would just like to point out, Eddie, why are you not having a go at Ben for saying he is with me and doesn't care for it?
Well, because he didn't say any outlandish comments.
Well, I just said I don't care for it.
All right. But now I'm in the minority. I'm keeping quiet. Anyway,
fucking bastard.
So there's two things about this. Remember, there was actually like a modder who created a Gollum game after the bad one came out, and it took him a month. And people are saying it's a better game than the Gollum game. So
people would say that though. Come on.
Yeah, they would say it. And I've forgotten the second bit. So there you go.
Brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Why, if this studio had another idea of a Lord of the Rings game, why did they progress with the Gollum one first? The one that nobody cares about. Why was
That's a good point.
Decision to make that? Because if they did, I would be interested to know what their idea for the second game was, because it was probably something entertaining, like an Aragorn or Legolas or something, like, you know, one of the entertaining side people. But
it's like, also Lord of the Rings is a big IP, but it's niche. Then to do a Gollum game, which is
even niche,
stealth based, that's niche. I mean, around the table here, I can guarantee Kirk doesn't do anything stealth.
No, I fucking hate stealth, mate.
Oh, I'm not into stealth either. Eddie might be a bit stealthy, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm pure.
But I think that's niche on niche. It's.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was a bad decision upon a bad decision. It was a bad decision to do the Gollum side. It was a bad decision to go on a stealth game when Lord of the Rings is so like combat and action heavy. It was a bad decision to make it look like an Xbox 360 game. It was just a bad decision. Bad people.
But it looks like they've made the decision to exit game development. So
that's good, but it does make me sad that 20 people. How many people was it?
25.
25 people lost their job.
Yeah.
But I guess you need to be held accountable for making an absolutely horrific game. So I don't know.
But this also, just before we move on, this also does come off the back of Embracer Group laying off a bunch of people, doesn't it?
Oh, they laid off loads of people.
And they own this IP, don't they? And obviously the game was in development prior to them owning the IP, but still, if the it's a dead horse at this point, isn't it?
Did Embracer Group lay off loads of people? Did they? I know
they did.
They obviously had that potential investment fall through, which was like several billion over a couple of years. And that would have funded games, obviously. So if they have laid people off, that would have been because they were planning to make games that can no longer be funded, I imagine.
Yeah.
But
anyway, it's sad for everybody involved. Like Eddie said, it's never good to lose jobs. So
it is. That brings us to the end of the news. So next week we should have a conclusion on the Microsoft FTC stuff. So
cannot wait.
Look forward to some type of preliminary conclusion. Anyway, take us to new releases, Eddie.
That was a weird ending.
That was weird, wasn't it? I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, I feel kind of queasy after that. Right, let's move on to new releases. You shouldn't feel great. Ulterium Shift, coming out on PC July 6th. Embark on a journey through the living world of Ulteria and experience its dynamic quests, unique turn-based combat, and choice-driven storylines. Choice-driven storylines. For fuck's sake, you don't need to say that, do you? Like, that's not a thing. That's not like a big thing anymore.
I think it is with this game, though.
Okay, I feel like Ben's going to rip into this before I even finish the blurb. With 3 branching narratives, need to brag about that again, and unforgettable characters, Ulterium Shift is a retro-inspired JRPG that offers a new adventure with every playthrough. So the visuals are like a cross between Pokemon and Octopath Traveler. That kind of like, I don't know, pixelated, but
2D HD.
That's it. That's what I hear.
Nice.
It doesn't have any obvious obvious like selling points, like anything that jumps out. The devs also haven't done anything before. Yeah, I'm not this kind of gamer, but to me it looks shit anyway. Ben, are you going to shit on it?
I thought the maybe the thing that saved it was that it was kind of like a different every time, could be different, you know, with a name, but it says 3 branching narratives, so
you got 33% chance of something.
I think it looks a bit shit.
Oh, that's harsh. All right, okay. Can I assume you're the same?
Let's move on, mate.
Yeah, let's move on. There is a demo on Steam. There you go. For you listeners that liked that. Next one, Gimmick Special Edition, coming out on PC, PlayStation, Xboxes, and Switch, July 6th. Save the day as a star-shooting, platform-bouncing cutie pie in Gimmick. God, that's cringy, isn't it?
Just a little bit.
Special edition. Oh, sorry, I didn't say special edition. Sunsoft's beloved physics-based action platformer. Physics-based. You just jump. How can you say physics-based when it's literally just jumping up and down? Fuck's sake. Sorry. Physics-based action platformer finally bursts onto current platforms, enriched with a rewind feature, a time attack mode, online leaderboards, and modern extras. Fuck my life. So, Gimmick is a game that came out in 1992. It came out on the SNES. Ben, I think you had a SNES.
Was it the SNES or the NES? Because they've got on the collector's edition a CD in the case styled as the NES cartridge.
Oh, okay. Maybe a NES then. All right. It did say SNES on the thing, but it's fine. Yeah, so the game is like where you just jump around. It's typical, like, you know, Nintendo kind of game. Did Ben? You had one of these, didn't you? Did you play this?
No, of course I didn't play this. It's
what do you mean?
It's weird. It's weird when it says beloved, doesn't it? This is written by an AI. This whole fucking blurb is written by AI. Beloved physics-based action platform. What the fuck? And then it's enriched with a rewind feature. What, you've added a rewind? Enriched.
I would like to also point out I have never heard of Gimmick before.
No one's out of the camp.
So how could it be? Oh wow!
I know, dropping the C word like that.
Jeez, We're only 45 minutes in, mate. What's going on? Yeah, I don't understand. Like, sure, it'll appeal to someone. Obviously, people that are living in 1992. So,
Good.
Yeah. It's 500 megabytes to install, so...
Oh, Pete would be happy.
Yeah.
Get that on the PC.
Pete might get this, yeah. I'd be interested to see what the price is.
I actually think, looking at the screenshots, I think because it's obviously like a 4:3 aspect ratio. Obviously, it's, yeah. They've obviously got the bars down the side. I think the graphics on the side take up more like processing power than the actual graphics of the game itself.
I was going to say this looks so shit that at 500 megabytes it can't be optimized.
Fuck's sake.
Oh, dear.
Let's move us on, Eddie. Let's move us on.
Dear. Right, next one. Guilt?
Yeah.
Yeah. For our listeners, it's spelled GYLT. So
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. Coming out PC, PlayStations, and Xbox, July 6th. Shape your fears. Fear the shapes. Very clever. Embark on a journey where you face your worst fears and are confronted with the emotional impact of your actions in this narrative adventure game with puzzles, stealth, and action. That was a very long sentence to take without a breath. That was... Embark on a journey where you face your worst fears and are confronted with
You did well. Is that what you want to hear?
your actions
You did well.
in this narrative adventure game with puzzles. That's fucking difficult. How are you supposed to say all that in one sentence?
Well, you just did it.
Yes, but it wasn't coherent, was it?
Not when you're reading.
I've had enough of you, Kirk, today.
Okay.
I've had enough of you. It's an adventure stealth game. I don't want to say horror, because it's not like, it's kind of, it's like cartoony horror, but... You know, it's kind of down the, ooh, that's scary. Kind
Like Little Nightmares type thing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So that kind of thing. The visuals are quite nice, despite the cartoon look. It's quite a simple game. It's kind of just all about stealth and distracting and stuff like that. So I hope it has a good story. What do you guys think of this one?
Kirk, do you know, this is the Stadia game, isn't it? Do you remember?
I don't know. I'd have to Google it, mate.
I thought you might remember as well. I think this game came out on Stadia, and it was only on Stadia.
Yes,
and then when Stadia went kaput, the guys at Guilt said, "Oh, we're bringing it to other consoles now."
Came out
I think
in
this is just the release of it. Yeah, I think this is just the release of it. So I actually think this game will do quite well. I think it was a solid, like 7 out of 10 type Little Nightmares type game. Yeah, I think people who enjoyed that stuff would enjoy this. It would appear. So yeah, good luck to it.
Okay, cool. All right, next one. New Heights coming out on PC July 6th. Experience free solo climbing and bouldering like never before. Go above and beyond because it's climbing. Very good. On real cliffs and structures. Improve your skills, travel the world, and compete against your friends from the safety of your computer. It's literally a climbing simulator. The visuals look okay. You basically...
Okay? Are you broken?
What's wrong with the visuals?
This looks awful.
They look alright. Visually.
Yeah, that's alright.
Let me get this up on the screen again. What?
Although there is a screenshot here where I'm looking at the side of a structure and that is pixelated to fuck. But there are other screenshots where the detail on the character and the cliff ledge she's climbing up is pretty detailed. So
yeah, maybe it's in that photo mode you fucking love, Kirk. This looks awful.
It's an indie dev.
It doesn't look right. You're going extreme here. Look, the reason why I put okay, so I have levels. I have like bad, okay, good, and very good. So 2 out of 4 is...
Ulterium Shift is a bad-looking game. This is an okay game.
Right. So you're saying this is below average in visuals?
Yes. Yeah. Below average.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm interested to know what kind of structures you climb up. So I understand why they would climb up cliffs, because that is the thing. But the structures, they're not doing buildings, I hope, because that's just encouraging bad behaviour. Yeah,
they're buildings. I mean, you don't climb them in real life, Kirk.
Yeah, but
it's just like, Kirk, GTA, you don't have
you absolutely
to do that in real life.
Absolutely do. That's exactly what you do. You reenact what you see in a game. This is why games get blamed for everything.
Oh, did you see the fucking French president said that this week?
Yes. Yes, I do.
That should have been our quick news, Ben. I'm ashamed of you for not doing that. Although you don't actually read real news.
No, I don't know.
The French president said the reason why the rioters are all happening is because video games encourage violence.
Yeah.
Oh,
that archaic fucking opinion. But
it's a strong stance.
Yeah.
All he's ever seen is GTA, and that's it. He doesn't understand that there's other stuff.
And this game, and we'll see him next week climbing up a fucking wall.
There we go. Yeah.
So you get to choose like where your limbs go, and they have like a balance meters.
You get to choose where your limbs go.
Yeah, like you click on a foot and drag it and put it somewhere.
Okay.
And you have a balance, so if you don't get the balance right, you fall. If you also have like a grip meter that goes down over time.
Yeah.
Like Death Stranding.
Yeah, a bit more complex than that, but yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and you can compete online. Look, I'm not going to shit on it because if you're a climber, this might be okay.
It's true.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh God. We need more positive. I was going to say let's have Pete on. Pete's not a positive person. I take that back immediately. I apologise. Right, let's move on then. The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie, coming out on PC, PlayStation, Switch, July 7th. 3 different legends are about to unfold to determine the fates of Reen Schwarzer, Lloyd Bannings, and the mysterious Sea in this climactic... I bet his name's Chris. In this climactic chapter of the Legend of Heroes series. So this is an English release, actually. It was released in Japan for PlayStation 4 in 2020. And then they released ports for Switch and PC in 2021. But now it's getting an English release. So it's part of the Trails series itself. Is a part of a larger The Legend of Heroes series. For those of you who don't know, it's like a JRPG with kind of anime visuals. Ben, I'm going to come to you because this is the kind of game that you don't mind.
I think it looks. The people love the Trails games. I've never played them. Yeah. They're a big time commitment, and there are fucking thousands of them. So, but people love them. So, and they usually deliver, as far as I'm aware. To me, it looks like a lot of JRPGs. It looks very Xenobladey and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
I have thought, like Ben, wouldn't it be nice, like if I forced myself to like these, because then, because I've got a problem where I like a franchise like Bethesda or whoever do the fucking Far Cry's, whatever they're called, forgotten their name. And
Ubisoft.
I was going to say Ubisoft, isn't it?
And the problem is with those franchises is they release a game every 45 years, so... But if I forced myself to like...
Yeah, there's 1,000 Trails games.
There you go. Like, I'd be forever happy. Like, every 6 months, I've got a new game. Like... Think of the joy.
Well, why don't you force yourself then, Eddie, and see what happens?
Because this looks fucking terrible, Kirk.
Okay,
that's why.
Well, I was going to say you could experience happiness for once in your life, but never mind.
I don't want happiness. I play bad games because I like to be angry. How about that?
Yeah, that explains a lot, actually.
Cool. Brilliant. Right, let's move on to another bad one. Tad the Lost Explorer, coming out on Switch July 7th. So it's a Switch release. It came out on PC in November 2022. It's a cartoon adventure platformer. I don't think any of us played it, did they?
No, and Pete's deleted the blurb, so there we go.
I think it's based on a film or something, isn't it?
There was, when I Googled it, there was a reference to something else other than the game, so yeah. Must be.
Interesting.
There you go. Didn't know that far. Next one, The Valiant, coming out on PlayStations and Xboxes. It's a console release. Coming out on July 11th. Embark on a journey of brotherhood and redemption in The Valiant. A squad-based RTS, real-time strategy, set in 13th century Europe and the Middle East. So yeah, it's a console release. It came out on PC in October 2022. It's a squad-based RTS. Set in the 13th century Europe and the Middle East. Oh, there you go. Well done, Eddy. That was really good that you said that, because it's just in the blurb. Basically, it's Company of Heroes. This is the best way to describe it. Company of Heroes, but medieval time.
Does this interest you, Eddie? I was thinking you and Pete might think this looked half decent.
Do you know what's really put me off? So I put it on my wishlist, Ben. So I guess in short, yes. But I really have gone downhill with my expectation to what Company of Heroes is, because the latest one's apparently terrible. The one before
Yes,
that
it is, yeah.
and I was really disappointed with it. So there's a lot of things that make me put off. They are published. This is published by THQ Nordic, so that's a plus. They don't miss. I've got it on my wish list. It's a game that I will probably pick up when it's a good like £15. Well, I shouldn't say £15 because it's £17.50 now, but when it's a good like £12.
I'll probably pick up next week.
It will be on what we can play next week, but yeah, it's not good because there's mixed reviews on Steam at the moment as well, so that puts me off a bit.
Okay,
there you go. Last one, Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals, coming out on PC, PlayStations and Switch July 12th. 5 years after the events of Oxenfree, Riley returns to her hometown of Kamina to investigate mysterious radio signals. What she finds is more than she bargained for. It's a sequel to Oxenfree, obviously. It's a 2D supernatural adventure game. This one's published by Netflix. Seen this?
Yeah, because they bought the studio. They bought. Is it called Night Studio? Is that who developed it?
Night School Studio.
Night School Studio. Yeah. So they were bought by Netflix, and when that happened, it was like, oh, okay. Is this even going to come out on? Like, is this going to be limited to coming out on Netflix? You know, because there is Netflix Gaming, isn't there? So, but I'm not sure if it is also on Netflix Gaming. But I'm really looking forward to this one. I loved the first one. I thought it was excellent.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, really looking forward to this one. The first one it's been discounted, so like I think I got it for like 79p on a Switch sale or something. It's fucking awesome though. It's brilliant. It's after I played A Night in the Woods. I played A Night in the Woods, and I was like researching what games are kind of like A Night in the Woods, and Oxenfree came up. Played it, loved it. It's only about 5 hours long, and this one I think will be good too. So I'm day oneing it. I think.
Cool. Wow, that's a big comment.
I think it'll be like 17 quid or something though. Like you'd be able to get it for around that kind of budget price, I think.
It does say, I'm just reading up on a story here. Every Netflix user gets day one access to Oxenfree 2.
I assume you do that for your TV or something, Kirk.
No idea.
I don't even know how to play Netflix Gaming. Netflix Gaming is a real thing that I have fucking no idea about.
I imagine, depending on what your TV is and what, like, I don't know what spec you need or what like peripherals you have, but I'm sure you can connect a controller and stuff, can't you, to play games? If you have to use a TV remote.
I don't know. You might just use the remote,
can't you? So,
but anyway, if you won't have to buy it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, Eddie, you're saying go for your browser on PC.
I mean, I'm on it right now, but I still can't find fucking.
It's the worst advertised thing in the world. Isn't it?
It really is. What the
How do
I
fuck
do
is
it?
that nonsense?
I honestly can't find anything. Account? No.
Does it exist? Is it real?
Maybe if I click on the search, I type game.
Come on, fucking load of stuff.
The Game Changers. Oh, Squid Game. No, none of that.
All right, boys.
Right,
come on.
okay.
This is great. This is great content.
So somebody, please, a listener, please tell us how to access Netflix Gaming.
Tell us, grumpy fuckers, how to sort it out.
Before I spend money on this.
Ben hates spending money.
Do hate spending money. Right, Eddie, pick of the week. That's all the games.
That is all of them. Unfortunately, it's gonna have to be the Valiant.
Huh?
I know it came out already, but like, there's no other games on this list that I would actually play. Like, I know I defended New Heights too.
New Heights.
The visuals are fantastic. So,
oh my days.
Yeah, and the fact that you can move your limbs is just glorious. But I'm still going to have to give it to the Valiant, I'm afraid. Another bad week, isn't it? I think we said
Oxenfree 2, though. Yeah. Oxenfree 2, the biggest game of the week, just got totally overlooked there, but that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. No time for that 2D little side-scrolling shitter.
Okay.
You can play it on fucking Netflix, for God's sake, Ben. I mean,
yeah, that doesn't say a lot of good stuff about it, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be a really good game anyway. That comes out on the 12th, so I'll be getting that one. Let's move on to what we've been playing, because we actually have some cool stuff to talk about. I won't talk too much because it's the same as I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of Diablo.
Of course.
How many hours in are you now? Come on.
Don't know. Don't keep track anymore.
I'm checking.
It's just a fair few. It's just a couple of hours. I mean, I'm loving hardcore. I think it could be the way to play Diablo for me going forwards, especially with Season 1. Season 1's right around the corner. Devs are going to do a talk, I think, this Thursday. And that's going to tell us when Season 1 is being released. It might give us a bit more purpose. I'm holding off from starting a hardcore barbarian until Season 1 comes. But yeah, absolutely loving that game. Played a bit more Aliens. That game is hard as shit still. And I started playing Path of Exile as well. So I will update on that one if I continue with it. But it seems like a less handholdy Diablo. That's what I'll say about it.
142 hours, Ben.
142.
Yeah. How's that make you feel?
It doesn't make me feel great. I've now softened my. I don't look at that hour count anymore because I don't want to know.
Well, I'm going to remind you every week that I'm on. So
I don't want to know. So
right, shall I move us on?
Yeah.
Right. I have been playing 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn. I've been meaning to play it for a long time. I actually had it on the original PS4 Pro that I had, but never got around to playing it, and then sold the console because I focused on other things. So, first off, game looks fantastic. For a 6-year-old game, wonderful. I assume that they've done some sort of patch for the PS5, but
I believe they have, yeah.
But ultimately, it's still a PS4/Pro game. So, I love how it feels when you're kind of like traversing, and the way the combat is. It feels very mechanically sound. Like, you know, it is very much that whole third person feel. You know what I mean, don't you? Like your God of Wars, that kind of stuff. Shut up, Eddie.
I
right?
love you, guys.
Yeah, I hate me. The world is honestly wonderful. It's very filled. It's very lived in the sense of the wildlife, or they're not really wildlife. They're machines, but we'll get onto that. When I started the game, I did think, what the fuck is going on? Because I'm playing as a young Aloy, and I wondered why this was the case. It was obviously just little precursors to the story, which I know very little about because there's a lot of mystery around what is going on. But when you get past the initial prologue, I guess, Aloy is a big grown-up woman, and I actually really like her as a character. She's very down to earth, and has a lot of curiosity about her, and doesn't act like a complete wise ass. Basically.
Yeah, she's great in that game. She's really good, isn't she?
Yeah, it's you get think of Forspoken, for example, with that character that just keeps on chatting and shit, and I know it's part of the character and stuff, but it can grate on you.
I get you. Yeah, there's no pretense about the original character of Aloy. It's quite
the only
pure in what it is. Yeah.
The only thing I did think was she looked a bit odd. I know kids are chubby when they're younger.
Oh, don't get down this.
Come on, Kurt. What are you chatting about?
Do you not remember all the fucking controversy around this? Don't go down that path.
That was the second game as well. What are you talking about?
No,
yeah. I'm not talking about the second. I'm not talking about the second game.
Go on, Kurt. Sorry, you say your point, Kurt, and then we'll rag on it.
I don't understand why. I don't know. Something just didn't feel right, is what I'm saying. That's all. And she was
about what?
She was very
about what? Her weight?
No, not her weight. Just her face didn't seem right, for a kid version of her. That's what it's not what I would imagine she would look like as a child. Basically,
it's a very small part of the game. It's
I know, but it's just something that twigged in my mind as I was playing it. This is my little review. So fuck you, buddy.
Sure, you looked odd as a kid as well.
I still look odd now.
He looks odd now, so it's fair enough.
So anyway, like most kids in the world, she was also annoying. But again, she grew up to be great. The machines are genuinely fascinating. Obviously, they're based on animals, various different kind of animals, and to destroy them, as you may know, Ben, you use your focus, which you find in the child portion of the game, to find weaknesses to exploit, which is quite a nice little touch. And going back to the whole combat, I just like it's very fluid the way that everything kind of is, and you do feel like a badass whilst you're kind of playing it. One of the things I don't...
Yeah, it's the best bow hunting. It like to using a bow in a game is like the best one that I've played.
I can't say I've played many. Obviously, did you have a bow in Last of Us? You do, don't you?
Yeah, you got. A bow,
but there was a bow. Yeah, because there was some stealthy sections, wasn't there?
It's pretty shit though, wasn't it?
It was. It wasn't great. But this, you feel like there's a proper oomph to the to your kind of shots with this.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact you have to go resourcing for materials, though, like hunting for resources. Sorry, which is in part to build your arrows. I understand why, because you start the game as an outcast, and obviously things aren't. You have to adapt to what's happened. Again, don't know what's happened, but it's just one of those things I find very chorish. And they got the little markers that pop up, and it's like, oh, what's that over there? Oh, it's a bit of stick that I've got to pick up so I can make another arrow. Okay, great. Blah 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 blah.
There is a lot of picking.
There's
stuff
a lot
up,
of picking up of stuff.
But am I right in saying that there isn't an animation to pick up? It just collects it. Is that right?
There is. There's a small animation.
I think maybe they changed that in the second one then, because I think in one of them they changed it because it's just annoying.
Yeah, so it must be like half a second, I think, that the animation is. I know it's only small, but because you've got to do it so much, it adds up, and then you're just like, okay, great. So in the last hour that I've played, you spent about 2 minutes going down to the ground and picking something up. So, and I don't know about you, but I always struggle whenever I get into a new game. I do initially struggle with how like my inventory works. And how to manage certain things. And I don't really know what the fuck is going on in my backpack, like with what I'm carrying. I don't know what I've got. I don't know what does what. It's just more a case of I've got 2 arrows at the moment. I've got the standard arrow, and I've got essentially like an incendiary one.
Fire arrows.
And it's I don't know what I need to get them. It's just a little bit great.
I think, as far as I'm aware, it's an incredibly simple inventory system.
Yeah, well, maybe for you, but for a simple simpleton like myself, it's a bit complex. So,
what did you think about the proving? So the opening of the game, I think, is spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
I think the whole section. This isn't a spoiler because I don't care.
No, I don't think
it's the start of the game where you're trying to be initiated, aren't you, into this tribe, and so as an outsider, you can compete in this proving, and you're trying to win this competition. A pretty cool thing. I always liked playing that part. I did it about 3 times.
It's her determination as well as a character, which you do get a real, like, I guess I don't know how else to describe it, but like you do like kind of bond with her in a way. Like you understand why she's trying to do what she's doing. Like you feel for her. Like she doesn't know her parents. She doesn't know why. She's had a hard upbringing as well from her essentially surrogate father that shouldn't have been as father figure like as he was, because he was an outcast himself, and people were telling him, no, you don't treat her this way. She's nothing. But he obviously assumed that role. But the proving was pretty good. I like they really like kind of drilled home how people are as bullies, like, you know, how they treat other people who they don't like. Like, you really want to go, fuck you, man. Like that young lad, like, who throws a stone at her when she's a kid. It's like, okay, you're a bit of a prick, and then obviously it comes back and haunts him a bit later on. You're just like, you kind of deserve that, asshole.
Yeah, so. In most games, it will show like how his character changes, and he will get not in this one.
Okay, well, but yeah, it's so far it's one of the things I am struggling with is the very gamey dialogue. I understand it's Guerrilla. Did Guerrilla do a game before this, or was this their? Was there?
I imagine they did, because to trust with this,
I suppose. But this is obviously a big budget game. But there's something about the way that the dialogue is. It kind of reminds me of like Bethesda games, the way that you have.
Yes, it is. Yeah, very much so. Yeah,
you get the people like kind of front and center. The background's a bit blurred out, and it's like it focuses on like the top third of their body, doesn't it? And then it just the camera just cuts to the other person who's talking, or it's a bit odd unless they're doing like a proper cutscene.
Yeah,
and that just takes me out a little bit. And one thing on a technical level, because I am a nerdy bastard with this. Even on the PS5, I'm finding slight weird pop-in moments and textures not loading. Like there's literally like a split second when the scene cuts from one to another, and I'll notice somewhere on the screen something hasn't loaded properly, but then it does load in, and it's one of those optimization things that I just find is a bit odd.
To be fair to the game, 6.5 years old.
Yes, so. But you say that, but a 6.5-year-old game on a console which is more than powerful enough to run it.
Yeah, it doesn't clear up if there was an issue originally with the game.
I feel like there was probably an issue in the original game then. So, but anyway, quite enjoying it so far. How long is it, by the way? Like roughly? I know the second one's quite long, but
yeah, I want to say like 35 hours or something.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
I mean, I might be
way off, but I think so. 30 hours maybe.
There's been a lot of people that I've like kind of. I mounted one of the kind of horse machines on my most recent playthrough, so I'm on that section, and there was at least 3 or 4 people that I like just rode by because I was like, I can't be fucked with you. I'm not really one for side quests and stuff like that. I like to just kind of mainline stories.
Yeah, mainline it says 22.5 hours.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, I'm interested to carry on playing it. It's definitely got some hooks in there for me, and it's been on my list to play for, like I said, 6 years because I had it originally, but. Yeah, excited to see where it goes. Not done any climbing yet, though. So to our friend of the show, John, I'm waiting for that, buddy.
Why John?
Because he loves...
Ben that went
No. John loves Horizon. It's one of his favourite franchises. And he said, I hope you don't speak bad of the game. But
I'm really looking forward to seeing if you complete it, actually. If you can be bothered to take it through to completion.
Well, that's not a slight
on you at all.
No, I know, because I've got a funny feeling it's one of those games where I'm either going to be like all in or I'm not. And
for me, it was the combat. Like at the start, the combat is fantastic, and then it's like, for me, it reaches a point where it becomes quite boring.
Okay, that's kind of similar thing that happened with God of War for you, wasn't it as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
very
sense.
much so.
Yeah, well, we will see. I can't say that I'm not wanting to play it at the moment. So
you can't say that you're not wanting to.
You know, cancels itself out. Double negative.
So you're wanting to?
Yes, want to.
Okay, cool. Right, Eddie. What about you with Death
I'm
Stranding?
excited for this.
Now these are all the PS4 games coming out here. So let's go. Come on, Eddie.
Right,
hit us hard.
Sit back and enjoy this one. Yeah, I've been playing Death Stranding since it. Okay, was it free on Epic?
It was, yeah.
Wasn't it? A few weeks back. So bought that. Yeah, I'm gonna say I bought that, and I thought I'd give it a try because yourself, Ben, and Donnie was speaking so highly of it, and I thought I'd really enjoy it. Let's start with what I like: the visuals and atmosphere. I think the visuals are absolutely stunning. I think that and the sounds probably make one of the best bland worlds I've ever seen. Like for me, if you were to create a game with this kind of world, just like a kind of, I don't know what kind of world you call this, like a wet, scenic place. I think there's no better evidence of a world like this. I think the soundtrack is really, really good. I thought like when the second like cutscene came in and the music came in, and I went, oh god, it's gonna be one of these games which just hides behind good music. But I actually went, fuck, this music's actually really good. In fact, I found there's like a music player in the menu where you can actually go back and listen to old songs. And I found myself doing that quite a bit, which is pretty cool. Honestly, I think visuals and atmosphere, I don't think they could have created a better atmosphere, visuals, and sounds to go with it all. I really do.
Yeah.
I think like 10 out of 10. I really think
Stunning,
it's
isn't it?
Masterpiece in that regard.
It's still one of the best looking games around. Can you think of a better looking game than fucking Death Stranding?
No, really can't. Even just walking around, you just look around and you go, fuck, this place is actually... It's funny because it's like they wanted to prove that they're really good at making good surroundings, because they could have cheapened out and gone like in a world where it's really beautiful. Because then you can hide behind okay visuals. Like I remember Mass Effect 2, I think, you could go down on these planets and some of the planets were stunning. And I remember going like, whoa, this place is amazing. But this is not exactly a nice environment, but it's just so fucking well done that it's amazing.
And when you get to the snow areas as well, it's just, that is snow done right. It's just, yeah, so good.
There you go. The story, I think it was too much. I think it's too far-fetched for me.
It's a Kojima game.
Oh, come on. Yeah, but like, this is extreme. Like straight away with the babies and stuff. The babies.
It only gets more.
Oh,
It only gets
does it get bigger?
Oh, Eddie, it gets more. It gets to the point where you have no idea what's going on.
Oh, good, because I'm already at that fucking part. There's so many bits that I'm like, what the fuck? I thought you were my mum, and I don't know. Just things are happening that I'm like, I don't know what happens. But the BBs especially, they freak me out, man. Like, the baby making that noise and stuff. Oh, God. I think there's so many cutscenes.
It's a Kojima game.
It's almost like it's a movie. It's quite frustrating at times because there are times when I've only got like half an hour to play and I jump on and I've got the cutscene going on for over half an hour. My missus is shouting at me, going like, and I'm like, can you just wait? I've got to wait till the end of this cutscene. And obviously, Eddie, it gives you the option to skip. But I'm like, I don't want to fucking skip.
The end of the game, there are, I think, 3 sections where credits roll. Like, the game just doesn't end. Like, I heard this, but luckily I heard this before I embarked on the end. But it's like, when you think you're at the end, it's 3 hours of just like cutscenes and credits and walking along beaches and.
So you walk along the beach, or the game's just making you walk along the beach?
It's rolling credits. You're walking along beaches. It's a 3-hour epic of that.
So, sorry, I just want to clarify. You finish the game.
Pretty much, yeah.
You finish the game, and then there is another 3 hours worth of...
Yeah, it just doesn't... It like rolls credits, and then it's like, no, keep going. And then it's like, oh, now we'll roll credits of a new lovely music track. And then it's like, no. And then that spans over about 3 hours.
I'm glad I know that now.
So look forward to that, Kurt.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, well, that kind of moves me on to the mechanics side of things. I have found this extremely boring.
Okay.
Where are you, Eddie? What point are you up to?
I've connected all the people. I can get all the things. I haven't got a bike yet.
Have you reached the end? Because Act 2, like the end of Act 2 is when it begins, but it just so happens that Act 2 is like the longest thing in the world.
Right. I don't want to give too much away. I've brought the body to the incinerator. I've done all that bit. Then I've gone and linked up a few places.
Yeah, that's Act 1 moving into Act 2, I think.
Right. Okay. I've gone to an enemy base and I've collected something from the enemy base.
Yeah, I think because I think it's really the first. You get the first. I know you shouldn't really speak like this about games, but get like the first 12 hours out of the way, and then
fucking hell.
And then
just 12 hours.
Then you're on your way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's annoying. That act is very annoying because it's where most people drop off the game.
Yes. Yep. Well, that's the thing, Ben. I spent the first hour of this fucking game trying to keep myself upright with the L2, R2 mechanics where you carry too much. And I literally for an hour, and I was doing this, and I was like, "Come on, man!" Then I spoke to you halfway through the week, Ben. You were like, "Just keep on plugging away." I was like, "I'll try," and I did. I kept on plugging away, and I've got to a bit where, I've got to like an enemy base. I'm using stealth and stuff, but the problem with this, like, I'm all for drip feeding mechanics. I am, but this is too much because I am struggling to. Well, I'm playing Rocket League. That's normally what I do. I turn on my computer, play a bit of Rocket League, maybe 1 or 2 games. Then I go, right, now I'm warmed up. Let's play my main game. And I'm going, why don't you just play the golf game for a bit instead of going to Death Stranding? Because you don't want to be bored.
Is it because you've got the mixture of the like the cinematics, like what you're watching and stuff, and there's not enough happening with it as well?
Do you know? I think this sums up for me that I am such a mechanic kind of boy. Like, because for example, I am playing a lot of State of Decay 2, and everyone will tell you that game is shit. Like, there's no story, there's no good visuals, there's no atmosphere to the game whatsoever. Oh, but the mechanics are quite good. The fact that you can expand your base and all this shit. While this is the complete opposite. Like, the mechanics are really, like, the first hour is just make sure you can walk. and yet the visuals and the atmosphere and the cutscenes are relentless. So it's like the complete opposite game. It's almost what I would call like a PlayStation game. I know that sounds like I'm shitting on PlayStation. I'm not. But, like, they do that part of the game so well every time. And I do enjoy that bit.
Yeah.
But for me, it just needs some mechanics need to be brought forward so that, because for example, if I wasn't on this podcast, I would have lasted an hour on this game because I would have gone, this game is shit. I'm sure there's things that come into it, but I'm not willing to wait an hour to find that out. So I'm not going to say that I don't like it. I'm going to say that it's not for me because I understand how fucking stunning this game is. But I tell you what, I'm annoyed because I wanted to like it. It's got Mads Mikkelsen in it, who I love. The visuals are stunning, and I kind of that first scene with the cutscene when you're running away from that thing and you find the woman, I was like, this is going to be brilliant. But it was just all that, and I found that so boring to play a computer game like that. So
yeah, it is a shame, but I do understand where you're coming from, and I do understand that you're very mechanics heavy, and I just thought this might be a game that grabbed you on the other side. But the issue with this is that it does go to places where other games don't go. I do think the story was tremendous. I do think, but I actually really enjoyed the traversal, the carrying stuff, the getting from place to place. I actually got a sense of achievement with the nonsense likes that you get for delivering parcels and all this kind of, like, the nonsense, like, scoring system. I actually got kind of enjoyment out of that. Like, yes, I did that thing, and I don't know, there was like a sense of purpose to it behind it all for me.
There's 3 things that I put on my notes of why the fuck does it do it, and one of them is the likes. I'm like, why do they have a likes system? Like, this isn't Facebook. Why?
Yeah. But
it's
it's all a commentary. It's all a social commentary and all that. It's all breaking the fourth wall type stuff, and it's I see where you're coming from. I'm really interested in Kirk still to play, because Kirk. I think that you don't mind a single player game.
No.
And I don't think the only thing that I think this isn't for you is that it is a time constraint on, like Eddie said, you start playing this and you might have played an hour of it, but you may not have done anything really.
But then again, Kirk, you are very appreciative of a good-looking game and a good atmosphere. So, I think you'll love those aspects. But, you are right, Ben. Like, Kirk doesn't have the time. And if you're only going to play an hour, Kirk, you'll just be walking around.
Well, it's going to be my next game after Horizon Zero Dawn, so whether I complete it or not. So it shouldn't be too long before I get to this. It has been on the list as well, and when we had the discussion a couple of weeks ago, Ben, it was something that, as I said, I'm a Kojima fan, but under his Metal Gear Solid umbrella. I didn't really think much of Death Stranding when I first saw it. I liked the cast in it. Obviously, it's Norman Reedus, Mads Mikkelsen, stuff like that. But I don't know. It was too much of a departure from Metal Gear Solid, which is what I kind of embodied Kojima as. But you sold it to me with Donnie, and Eddy's comments don't put me off either. I don't
want anyone to be put off by my comments. No. I'm very much a mechanical person, and as a designed game, I think it's fucking fantastic. So
yeah, you're being fair about it. So which I like. So we'll see. Well, so are you going to carry on playing it or not?
I'm not, Kirk. I think now I've played it for the podcast. I haven't enjoyed it. I know that I'm not going to enjoy this game because the simple mechanics of it all, and there's so many cutscenes. I like to use my computer time like non-stop playing games. It's probably why I'm a good strategy gamer, because I like to non-stop play games.
Yeah.
And I've also just downloaded a wonderful game called Redfall, so I'm going to be playing that this week.
Have you?
No.
Yeah. Just downloaded.
No, you haven't.
Why have you done that?
Because I'm looking forward to playing an excellent Xbox game.
Okay.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay.
I can't wait. Okay, good stuff.
Okay.
There you go.
Right. Okay, let's move us on to the feature then. And yeah, as I said at the start, it's quite unfortunate that Pete isn't here, so we're going to be talking about min-maxing in games. So to explain that, really, min-maxing, for those who aren't really kind of au fait with that, it's about just like maximizing your stats in particular areas so that you create basically the perfect character and what you're trying to do, or your OP in the game or something like that. A lot of people like to build characters, especially in RPGs or something like that, where they are completely like into one aspect, so one type of attack or something like that, or crafting or something like that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of games allow you to do this to like the nth degree, and they're all about it. Sometimes it can become a bit of a compulsion. So we're going to talk about the goods and the bads and where we've done it. So firstly, I think we've got two different type of gamers in Eddy and Kirk. Eddy, you are a min-maxer, aren't you?
Oh, to the max.
Very good.
Very, very good. Yeah. Okay.
And on that, I am to the min. So
yes, and Kirk is not. And I think a lot of gamers come into this kind of like category of what you think with min-maxing. So do you want to just go into that a bit, Kirk?
Well, yeah. So first, I don't really play games. At least I don't believe I play games that have much in the way of min-max features. However, because I play a lot of single-player games in recent years, especially in the last decade, have had RPG elements, haven't they? So you've God of Wars and your Spider-Mans, where you have the ability to upgrade certain skill trees and that kind of thing to make yourself better. But they never, ever, ever seem to affect your overall enjoyment of the game.
No.
It is very much a case of, you can put your stat points in this one thing if you want to, but it really won't affect you. Like, and God of War 2018 is probably the best example that I have, because learning how that game worked in regards to how you level up with enemies, because obviously there were areas that you would go to where there would be enemies that were 4 or 5 levels above you, and there was no chance in hell you were ever going to beat them because you weren't strong enough. But then obviously you play the game a bit further, you go to different areas, you get to the next bit, you fill up your skill tree a bit more, and then you can go back and obviously destroy them. But that's designed by the game. It wants you to go and do that anyway, so which takes away that element of, what have I got to do, and like, is it a good idea for me to max out my strength or yep. Do this weapon in a certain way, or am I going to fuck myself over? Like, none of that happens in the games that I enjoy. So,
what about Cyberpunk? It's a big talking point, and I wish Pete was here because I'm going to regale what Pete did on Cyberpunk, but and I'm not going to do it any justice. But Cyberpunk is a game where me and you both played it as an RPG. Eddy, I don't think you got as far as we did. So, but we played it as an RPG. I just kind of played it as it happened, and we just like created our character and put stat points in whatever. But Pete went full min-max, and he basically one shot. Is the guy named Adam Smasher at the end?
Yes.
He basically could one shot. He one shotted him.
One shot killed him. Yeah, and that was not an easy fight. So.
No, it was not an easy fight. It was a full-on fight for us. If anything, we were getting one shot. But yeah, Pete got it to the stage where he could just one shot him, and same with like Skyrim and games like that. Eddie, do you remember Skyrim and like maxing out particular stats and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was all stealth and what was the other one? There was something to do with stealth. Oh, archery, of course.
Archery.
All archery. And then when I maxed out those two, I would go to like single sword or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Single-handed. But I didn't get as far on Cyberpunk to do any of that. I don't think.
No.
For me, the thing with Cyberpunk was I was able to play it like I do my normal single-player games, because although you have like different colours for equipment that you pick up, whether it be clothing, whether it be attachments for weapons, or that kind of stuff, wasn't it? I just went by the colours. Like I think orange was one of the best ones that you could have, and I would like look for orange stuff. But if I didn't come across it, I'd get the next best thing, which would be like blue, for example. I think was the next one. And as long as I had like some decent stuff on me, I was not really struggling. And I never felt like I was not able to progress. Only when we got to the end with Adam Smasher that was a bit more tricky, and I died a few times trying to get him. But that's part of the game as well. Whereas Pete, yeah.
Pete's all in. So Pete
played
I'll read his thoughts. I'll read Pete's thoughts here, because Pete plays a hell of a lot of World of Warcraft, and you've got to min-max on that. So he says in his notes, it's a regular thing for him to do, almost compulsive where the option exists. It doesn't mean he's reliant on guides. But he's looking to optimize kind of things to the absurd degree, like particular things within the game. But some games he will avoid it, like Stellaris and RimWorld, because that's more, I think, playing the game for enjoyment rather than to do like a min-maxing style. But he does play World of Warcraft, does play Diablo, so they are examples of games where he would do that. But if you got games,
I'm going to go one extra on Pete there and say, like, I'm a min-maxer. Every single game that I play, I min-max. But Pete goes one step further. He actually grinds to min-max. Like, I've told the story before where I've walked in and he's been making daggers for 4 hours straight in Skyrim while I was sitting there, like, just wanting to get on the TV, but I just had to watch Pete make daggers for 4 hours.
Just so you can get like Daedric armor or whatever.
I'm so glad you said in Skyrim, because that's the kind of thing I can see him doing in real life.
Actually I could see Pete doing that. But yeah, Pete will do it on all sorts of games. Like, I mean, the reason why you said about that Cyberpunk, he one-shotted that last dragon in Skyrim because he would just... I think he was doing the same thing over and over again to grind to become min-max. But
because that's where he gets his enjoyment, by doing things like that, whereas other people like to play the story kind of as it's presented to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pete's very much enjoying when it's one shot. Like his stories that he's told me about Morrowind would be, when he's flying through just zapping people with fireballs.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not that at all. I'm a min-maxer, definitely. Every single game I look at the skill tree, I look at what I can do, and I go full min-max. I find kind of the weapon that I like, and I will stick to that, and I will min-max the shit out of it. But at the same time, if I'm too overpowered, I will not enjoy the game. But I'll emphasise of how much I do it. Like, I even do it in strategy games with different characters. So, for example, in Wasteland, and this is weird, you can choose like set people to start with. I choose my own people and I go mega min-max. So I put all their stats in. One guy will be the strongest fucking guy in the world, but he doesn't know how to, like, I don't know, pick his nose. While another guy would be the most intelligent man in the world and he won't have strength in anything. Another guy will have, like, uber stealth and all this stuff. I just get a real enjoyment of that. It's like I know what those people are good at, and therefore I can get the enjoyment out of it. It's the same with RimWorld. I don't min-max so much, but I get people to stick to their lanes. So they do one job, so therefore they become better at it. And as we've discussed on this podcast, I'm even so simple that I even rename them what jobs they are.
Oh, yes.
But like I even min-match to match perks. And this is quite bad. Like, I look at skill trees, I look at what perks that I like, and I will purposely guide my leveling up to that system. So, for example, in Fallout 4, and this is bad, I look at that big school, the skill chart. Do you remember you used to have a poster, and it used to show all the skill, the perks you get with this leveling up? Do you remember that? Well, I look at that and I go, right, I need exactly 2 in strength, 3 in perception, 7 in charisma, and all this. And I go that extreme. I literally level up myself to make sure I'm at the perks that I want. Yeah.
So that links into like me. So I min-max in games that I fall in love with. So, and I do love a good game like this. And this, I always talk about the Forever game, and the Forever game for me is a game that can be min-max because it's about stats. Yeah. So before Diablo, Elden Ring was the one where, you know, specific builds require exact. I definitely look at build guides, there's no doubt about that, but then I kind of flex the build guides. So I really like games where you follow guides, and not necessarily to complete the game, but what I love about Souls games in particular is using a guide or on the internet as well to like particular items or things in the world that are to be discovered and stuff like that. Yeah. I love that about Souls games. I'm more about that than the self-discovery stuff. I like to kind of know what I'm aiming for and go out and get it type thing, and to build your whole character around that. And in Diablo 4, I feel exactly the same. Like I basically choose a build before I start the character. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing with the characters I'm creating now, and that's what I'll do in Season 1. Like, I have the builds in mind. I have the YouTube videos watched. I have them all linked down, and the exact how many skill points I have to put in different things, and that's the build I get. And it is quite interesting because towards the end of the game, towards the end of a lot of these games, you have to have had basically a min-maxed build to get to the top tier. Like, so there's a streamer that I watch playing Diablo at the moment, Miss Mika. So she's a sorceress just like me. She had a similar build to me, but a lot of different stuff. Then I watched her yesterday. She has the exact same build as me. So obviously she has deferred to the min-max build. Yeah. Like you can go so far without having to have the optimal build. And I love that about games where your build is so important to progression that you have to understand the mechanics down to the wire. Yeah. That's what I love about it. Like min-maxing when it's not necessary for me, I don't really do. But where I do think it is necessary to get that advantage that you need, not to one-shot someone, but to be able to really do something at the highest level, I really like that about the game. The other series that I've tried min-maxing on, and this may surprise you, but is Pokemon and Sword and Shield specifically. Because I tried to build a competitive team on Sword and Shield, and to do that you have to basically have level 1 Pokemon, and you have to train them in certain ways. And to do that, there are 2 types of stats: EVs and IVs. They're the hidden stats and the stats you can see, and they will they gain certain points from fighting different Pokemon, or you have to take them to a daycare center and train certain elements and stuff, and you have to make them have 1 positive stat, 1 negative stat, 1 buff or 1 debuff type thing. And what I both liked and didn't like about it is that everyone who plays competitive at the high level has min-maxed exactly, which I had a real problem with because I had made 3 Pokemon, so a competitive team is 3 really, and I'd fucked up at level 1 on one of my Pokemon. So I'd made a speed Pokemon. Like, it was the one that would always attack first. My first Pokemon out would attack first. But it was 1 stat lower. Just 1 out of 400 or something. It was just 1 stat lower than its optimal. So you lose. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, and I just thought it's so competitive at the top of like the Pokemon online. It kind of put me off that it was almost gatekeeping that content for me.
I think a lot of games are that, especially when you're online. Like, this is a weird example, but FIFA, like when I was I don't know, was it 2 FIFAs ago, maybe 1 FIFA ago, when I wanted to be top division?
Yes, and you were Div 1, weren't you?
and this is a really weird example to give, but there were a huge trend of certain players. Now, these players weren't always the best people, but it's the people with, for example, up front, 99 pace. So you saw the trend of these people that weren't the best cards or best players in the world, but they had such maximum like pace or maybe dribbling that everyone had them. I think with all these games, it's the same with Tarkov. Like, I have watched so many videos of like the optimal settings. I know it's min-maxing in a weird way, but
Well, look at Warzone, Eddie.
yeah, there you go. Like, I think all these
guns.
games, I don't think I think min-maxing is almost required because else you're always going to come across someone who is min-maxing and who's then going to beat you. And then if you like losing, then fine. But I don't enjoy computer games if I'm losing all the time, and therefore I would not like playing the game.
So the question to both of you then, to cap this one off, because I quite like min-maxing in some games. Halo and Call of Duty are two shooters. Let's say they were a battle royale on both, and you liked both equally. Halo, as we know, the guns in Halo are set, aren't they?
Yes.
They're just the set standard guns. You just choose, you got your battle rifle, you go in there. In Warzone, you design your own guns, and you can min-max. Which system do you prefer?
Every day of the week, Warzone. Absolutely love going through all the little attachments and even the fine tuning. Yeah, it's my favourite thing. In fact, I've got so many spreadsheets. In fact, I've even got it up here.
Yep.
Gaming, here we are. Warzone 2 stats, Warzone stats. I've got websites stating different like stats of guns. I love that shit.
Yeah,
Finding out
and I love your spreadsheets.
And you love.
Of course
my
you do.
spreadsheets.
You're a fucking spreadsheet whore.
Wow. Okay.
Love a min-max. Kirk, what about you?
Well,
which one would you prefer in that scenario?
Mine is Halo for the simple aspect of picking up and playing, and it directly feeds into my whole single player kind of drive that I have, because I don't have to think too much about it. It's just my skill, basically, at that point, and either I'm good at it or I'm not. Whereas I don't have to dive into all these different intricacies that I can or can't do. And for example, our Warzone, the loadout that I've got set up, I've only got one loadout set up because I can't be fucked to go through the rest. I'm not, and it's not something that I really care
it
for.
upsets me.
I don't. Yeah, well, that doesn't bother me because it's what I do. I'm just on to play with the boys, mate. All right, you can go as hard as you want, and that's.
But you don't, Kirk. We land and you go wandering off by yourself every time.
Yeah, for the first kills, which I never get. But the point is, I don't.
Right,
need
for our
to...
listeners, we've got to regale the story. We played with Kirk this week. It's difficult to get Kirk on Warzone because he just gets drunk and disappears in real life. So,
Yes.
and then Ben went, right, Kirk, tonight, please, let's all stick together, let's work together. And before Ben even finished the sentence, Kirk went, I'm on the train. The train was fucking half the map away.
Yeah, what? Oh,
You were just going around the train, just enjoying yourself.
I had a great time. Didn't know what the fuck was
Had
going
a
on.
great time.
But no, just going back. I like the simplicity of something that I don't have to think too much about. That's what I like, which is why it feeds into my. I'm not a min maxer. I'm a nobody. I don't know what the term is. But...
I'm a nobody. That got deep there.
yeah, that.
You know what I
that
mean.
went
Like,
somewhere.
think of a better analogy for me.
No,
Yeah,
you're
well, I
nobody.
do know what you mean, and I think it speaks to time constraints as well that people have on certain games.
Yes, exactly.
And I know you'd love to play loads more games than you actually do, but time constraints, and so that's not a path you necessarily go down. I think that's also why people can tend to focus on story, single player, narrative driven games as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
But so the answers I kind of expected, but yeah, I do.
Do you know another reason why? And this kind of links into what Coat has been saying. Is I like min-maxing because when it is skill against skill and you lose, you have to tell yourself, I'm shit. I'm not very good. But with min-maxing, with those little tweaks that you do, you can go,
You can have the edge.
He must have had a bet again. Yeah, he must have had an edge. He must have had an edge somewhere.
Yeah.
And then you just tell yourself
his gun. Oh, sorry, he had an MP5. Oh, right, okay.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
he's got the meta weapon. Like
He's got the meta weapon.
Sorry, he's got the meta. So we haven't got the new meta yet. So yeah.
I am not shit, and I never win Warzone.
Look at that fucking nerd with his metagun.
Oh, dear.
Right, okay, that's that. So if you've got any opinions on metaguns or min-maxing, then you can email us podcast@grumpygamers.co.uk or tweet us at grumpygamerspod. But I think for this week it's GG.
GG.
GG.